A confused generation of men is so much easier to control than the truth-seeking generation of men.
Boys need to be boys. Boys need to be boys. I've raised them. They need to feel good about themselves. They need to be able to face challenges, do things that are incredible. They've got testosterone. They want to be men. They want to be boys. So why is Hollywood and everyone in this new kind of modern, ideological, Marxist, leftist, radical, feminist, I don't even know. I could keep going on and on and on, trying to make our boys girls. And why are so many men so intent on getting involved in girls' sports and girls' beauty pageants and, in everything that women do? It's like I don't understand this. I don't understand this. And this has nothing to do with me being like, I'm not accepting, I'm not this, I'm not that, I've got to be tolerant, whatever. What about being tolerant of the way things stand? I mean, a man and a woman, they have a kid. They have a kid, that kid can be gay, that kid can be straight, but it takes a man and a woman to do it, right? Why is that such a bad thing? Why is it such a bad thing to have, respect for men who are strong? I think all of you, and you're gonna love this interview. I have Kevin Sorbo on with me today, and he's gonna break it down for you. He's gonna talk about his new book, which I think is so needed. The Test of Lionhood. It's part of our Brave Book series. As you know, I'm a Brave Book author as well. He's now part of the Brave Book family. Kevin Sorbo, you all know him. He's an actor, he's a producer, a director, a dear friend. And he is somebody who is not only speaking out now against this insane madness that is driving our children literally insane, and is abusive and wrong. He's going to say it's okay to be a man. It's okay to believe that, men have different attributes than women. It's just the way it is. It's just been that way since the beginning. Even in the animal kingdom, you will see it, right? There are just differences that make us unique and special and wonderful. And we should not be robbing our children of who they are, who they essentially are. I have seen so much abuse on social media with young boys, parents who are putting their kids through this transitioning, people who are giving their children blockers that are sterilizing them and never giving them an opportunity in the future to make decisions for themselves as an adult. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with men being men and women being women, with boys being boys and girls being girls? And we have 3 girls and 3 boys between us, my husband and I. We have 6 children, and they are very different, the boys from the girls. And we've raised strong and I believe wonderful young men and beautiful young ladies. And I am saying this with all sincerity. Kevin Sorbo stood up to Hollywood. He stood up to people that were trying to manipulate the public. He has not been afraid to stand up and speak the truth despite some of the backlash that he has received, and it's been a lot. And he has been very successful despite all of that. Every single one of us needs to do the same. Every single one of us needs to do the same. And I'll be with Kevin Sorbo in a moment. But first, I need to thank Allegiance Gold. Gold and silver allow you to protect what you've worked so hard for. What do I tell you? Diversify, diversify, diversify. I have gold. I have silver. I use that as part of my portfolio with my husband. And right now, the way the world is changing, my gosh, you need to protect yourself. You need to protect your family, and you need to protect your assets. Right now, you can get $5,000 of free silver on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sara sent you. Go ahead. Allegiance Gold has the highest ratings in the industry. They've got 5 stars with TrustLink. They're AAA rated with the Business Consumer Alliance, and they have an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Get $5,000 of free silver right now on a qualifying purchase when you tell them that Sara sent you. So don't wait. Call or click today. 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, SARA. Or go to protectwithsara.com. We can't control the Biden administration, folks, but we can prepare. That's 877-702-7272. That's 877-702-SARA, SARA. Or go to protectwithsara.com. I'm so excited to have you on the Sara Carter Show, Kevin. And I know you know how much I love you and your wife, and I run into you guys whenever I am at events, and I see you in Mar-a-Lago. I was sad that I was sick the last time and I didn't get a chance. I was going to actually go stay with you when I was in Florida.
That's right.
And I didn't get a chance.
We have the best guest room, and we're like the Petticoat Junction. We have people staying here all the time. So.
Okay, well, I want to be
a part. I just aged myself because most people don't know what Petticoat Junction is.
Okay, explain it to them.
Petticoat Junction was a sitcom that was back in the late 60s and early 70s, and it was just a fun show. I think it was a spinoff of Green Acres, which was another one.
I remember Green Acres very well.
It's when sitcoms were funny, and the whole family could watch them, and there was no hidden messages. Of course, there's no hidden message. Now they're just right in your face with things. So, but they were very funny shows back in the day.
Let's talk about that, because before I jump into the book, because you are the author of the brand new Brave book, you're part of the Brave book family now. I wrote The Amazing Club Awesome Sauce, but your book, The Test of Lionhood, is incredible. Like, there's some people that try to write books about manhood and it just does not work for them. But when you hear Hercules, Kevin Sorbo has written a book called The Test of Lionhood, you're like, that I'm going to buy. I believe I'm going to give that to my kid, because as far as and I'm not just talking your work as, as an actor, your work in Hercules and everything that you've done that has made, I think you remarkable and an American treasure, but the fact that you also live a very principled life. You and Sam have a deep faith in God, and you care so much about our nation, and you're not ever afraid to stand up, to speak out. Regardless of what comes at you. And to me, that is a real test of lionhood.
Well, thank you. They're going to come after me on this one. Trust me, because I say embrace masculinity when they're calling it toxic masculinity. We have been after men for decades now, but the world now, the last 10, 15 years has gone insane. And girls shouldn't be girls, boys shouldn't be boys. That's the mantra that's coming out through the movies today, when boys should be boys and girls should be girls. And that's what this book is about. It's about, teaching young kids, because as you know, Brave Books, like 12 and younger is really their target audience. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea is to let boys be boys. Let them grow up. Let them make mistakes. Let them learn. Let them have a father figure in their life that shows them how to be a man, how to face problems in their life instead of whining and crying and doing nothing about it, running away from it. And that's what this book is really about. And that's why I like the Test of Lionhood, because I think the reason I think Brave Books came to me for this is that when I do my speaking events or doing interviews like this, I say, I'm here to wake up the lions. The sheep are going to be the sheep, but we got to get this silent majority that every year we talk about the silent majority. Well, where is the silent? I know they're out there, but have the guts to say something. Every movie I've been doing for the last 6-7 years, I get somebody from the set, whether it's an actor, whether it's a camera guy, lighting guy, whatever, come up looking around like we're doing a drug deal and say, hey man, thanks for being a voice for us. I go, dude, be a voice for yourself. People are so afraid. Well, I'll get blacklisted like you. Yeah, I got blacklisted, but I said the heck with it. I love this industry. I love making movies. I want to be an actor since I was 11. We formed SorboStudios.com. We're doing our own thing. Other independent projects are coming to me from other independent movie producers, and I'm staying busy. Since Hollywood booted me out 11 years ago, I've shot close to 50 movies, so I'm staying busy. you know, and
Oh, I know
I'm,
you are. I
yeah,
know you are. I mean, The Girl That Believes in Miracles. I've seen your movie, The Left Behind. I love the Left Behind series
great.
anyways. I think that you make movies that I can take my children to, our
Yeah,
family can go together and watch it. We don't have to feel afraid. I mean, sometimes I'm afraid even when I turn on, and we got rid of Disney. So we got rid of the
oh
Disney
yeah,
platform because I realized during COVID, it was like an indoctrination
yeah.
platform into the most bizarre thought process. It was from the radical monarchs in Oakland, which is some kind of new Girl Scout club where you go to gay parades and get badges and, you get radicalized. I couldn't
Yeah.
even believe that was a commercial on the Disney. And, with every other subject, like the hidden messages, you talked about this a second ago. Now it's in our face, but we still have those messages subliminally in our face.
Yeah,
Now they've spread to like a virus into our school systems.
yeah.
So a lot of parents, you're right, if they're silent, if they're not speaking up, their kids are being taken from them. Their children are being robbed of their childhood because of the silence of the right of so many people that are afraid of speaking up because they're afraid they're going to be ostracized.
Well, the majority of public school teachers that 35 years and younger grew up now in that whole woke culture. They didn't call it woke back then, but these people grew up with it through this grade school, junior high, high school, through colleges, and now they're out there. Instead of teaching math, they're showing documentaries on transgenderism. What does that do with math? But they're actually doing that in these classes. Teach what you've been told you're supposed to teach. It shouldn't be
Right.
that hard. If you're a science teacher, teach science. This whole thing, if you want to have a transgender classroom, then let the kids decide if they want to be in that class, transgender studies or gay studies or whatever. I'm in Hollywood. I've worked with that crowd my entire life, and you won't find one out there that says there's a horrible person to be with. Because I'm a live and
Right.
let live kind of guy. If that's a road you want to go down that road. But this constantly trying to force this down the throat of third graders, trying to
That's
giving them books about sexuality as 9 years old. Let them grow up and learn it the way they're supposed to learn it, the way it happens naturally through life, instead of this whole forcing at that young of age of how to perform oral sex. I mean, I've seen these books, and they're giving them to 9 and 10-year-old kids. You're going, wait a minute, this is not. Let kids be kids. Let them
I
have a
was
life before
stunned.
they. Let them decide when they get older and more mature to handle it.
I was stunned, Kevin, when I read some of that. And I did read that as well. I
Yeah.
mean, I couldn't believe that it was being offered to children that young. It blew my mind and it woke me up. It made me realize for that moment, it was like, wait a minute, everything that I thought I was protecting my child from is readily available to them from people that they're supposed to be looking up to,
Yeah.
adults. Hey y'all, make sure you're subscribed here on Rumble and on your favorite podcast app. It really does make a difference. Thank you. You have a quote in your book, and I want you to talk about this because it's such an amazing statement. You said, it's important that we know masculinity is a gift given to men by God. A masculine man is strong, but also obediently follows God's will and strives for truth and righteousness. Why is this message so important for boys to hear?
Well, because they're not hearing it anywhere else, and they got to hear it, and parents need to wake up. I think one of the blessings of COVID is that parents were waking up all around the country saying, wait a minute, this is what's going on in our schools? Because you had teachers telling these kids, don't tell your parents we're doing this. And 2 million more homes are now homeschooling because of COVID. Thank God, because they woke up and saw the craziness of using the public school system as a babysitting service for their kids. And I realize people, I got to work 2 jobs, I got to work the job. I totally get it. I understand it. But you guys need to do some research and find schools that aren't driving your kids down this ridiculous road that they're driving them down right now. You mentioned something earlier about the movies that I'm doing. I've got a movie coming out at the end of October called Miracle in East Texas. And it's a PG-rated film, a true story set in 1930 that I directed. I star in it along with Sam, Lou Gossett Jr., Tyler Main, John Ratzenberger. It's a wonderful, it won 10 film festivals, everything from Best Romantic Comedy to Best Judge's Favorite, Audience Favorite. go to sorbostudios.com and you can sign up right now. Buy the tickets now. We only get 2 days through Fathom. That's the way Fathom works, because at least we get the 700 movie screens.
Right.
But if we don't fill those screens up, these movies go away. And these are the movies Hollywood used to do, because you see the movies they're doing right now. And we need people to support movies like that I'm doing, because this movie has hope and love and faith, redemption, laughter. It's a true story. And it's a wonderful story for the whole family. Otherwise, Hollywood, with their $100 million advertising budget, is going to keep winning this culture war, because they drive politics more than anybody else.
But do you think that the American people, and I agree, I'm going to buy the tickets. I'll buy them today. Miracle in East Texas. Everybody get out there. Let's put it out on social media. Let's let everyone know, because we need films like this, and we need our children to feel safe again, to feel like they're children again. I think to myself, how many children have been so thoroughly abused, both mentally and physically, by a society that is, I have no problem. If you're gay, you're gay. I don't care. You know, if you're a grown man, a woman, you make a choice for yourself. That's fine. I have a lot of friends. I don't judge them. That's their choice.
Yep.
But they're adults. But these are children. And these adults, some insane adults, are making decisions, and they are abusing, in my opinion, these children and causing irreparable harm. And our young boys are faced with this both mentally and physically in this kind of upside down society that we're living in, Kevin.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Look, a confused generation of men is so much easier to control than the truth-seeking generation of men. And that's why people like in Hollywood don't like working with someone like me, because they do not, they can't stand my Christian beliefs or my conservative viewpoints. And it drives them crazy. And why, I don't understand. But that's sort of the battle we have going on all this single time. I say, if you're gonna eliminate the patriarchy, then you're gonna eliminate the human race. The Bible teaches us to honor fathers. But what do sitcoms do? Other than what's ironically, the one sitcom that comes to mind that they had both very strong parents was The Cosby Show. Mm-hmm. They both were very strong, good parents. They each had their own role, but they were strong. He was a man teaching his kids how to be a man. The wife, I mean, it was a very good relationship. Most sitcoms, the dad is kind of dopey, he's kind of pudgy. The mom's kind of hot. And the kids, the teenage kids, all they do is make fun of dad, because dad's the dopey one, right? And they do, I'm not going to name them sitcoms because people know what I'm talking about. They do this all the time. And so kids grow up watching these shows. They have no respect for fatherhood. They have no respect for it whatsoever. And this is the biggest battle we got going on right now. And I say, you know what? We need strong boys to become strong men, because the stronger the man, I think the stronger the family's going to be, the community be, even the country's going to be. And we need our boys to become strong men who can lead their families and communities as well. And look, the Bible calls for men to be providers. That takes nothing away from women's equality. Women just simply have a different role in that family life than the men have. And it should be that way. It's not a negative either way.
We've robbed our young men of that, though. Kevin, we've robbed young men of that. We have robbed them of feeling. I couldn't believe it. The other day I got on the bus. I was traveling somewhere from Oakland. I don't remember. I was on so many different trips with Sean this past year. But I remember I got on the bus and there were all these men sitting in the bus going to the rental car area. And there was an older lady and her granddaughter, I'm assuming, standing up, and she was trying to hold on to the rail and she couldn't reach it. And not one of those men got up to offer her a seat.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait a minute. Are one of you guys going to get your butts up out of that seat and give this poor lady and her granddaughter a seat? So we've not only robbed our boys.
I would do that if I was on the bus. I don't have to be on the bus. If my kids were on the bus, both my boys would have done that, because we taught them to be men. We taught them that that's the right thing to do. I'll still open doors for them. I only had one time when I opened a door for a woman, she got in my face about it. You know, and I said, fine, I'll go ahead of you. And I made sure I closed the door behind her. I said,
she was just crazy. I would be very happy. I always say thank you. There are still gentlemen left.
What's wrong with that? You know, you're right. There's no manners anymore. I get guys walking up to me because their ego, these men, you know, here, sign this for my kid. And I look at a 40-year-old guy and go, please? Yeah, it's like the attitude about this whole ego with men and their insecurities and all that kind of stuff. But if those
Right.
guys in that bus didn't do that, they were taught the wrong way by their own parents. Maybe they didn't
That's
have a father.
exactly it.
Maybe they didn't have a father.
So explain what masculinity is and what it is not.
Masculinity is not being afraid to be a person that stands up for their values, stands up for the truth, for one thing. Here's the interesting thing about this story. The story is done, like I said, it's the story of a young lion cub, okay? He goes out into the woods to play with his two younger sisters. The youngest sister gets cut by this plant. It's a dangerous plant. It's a poisonous plant. She's going to die unless they get the flower that can cure this. Well, he can't have time to run back to get his dad because the only place to get the flower is up the mountain on the other side. So if he went back to his dad to go up and do it, little girl would die. So he knows, even though he's got to face his fears and face his insecurities and all these little roadblocks that he's going to feel, he's got to go and climb up that mountain to save his little daughter's life. And that's what this book has in it. It's a wonderful story about overcoming your fear and overcoming the obstacles that life is going to give to us. God never promised us an easy life. It's as simple as that. You are going to have a lot of failure in your life, but you better learn to use failure as a positive instead of negative. And I think in today's world, so many kids fail once and just give up. And then they say, it's everybody's fault but mine. It's God's fault. It's your fault. It's the government's fault. You have to take care of me now. And I think that's the biggest problem.
100% the victimization of it. It's like we have a culture right now that encourages kids to be mediocre, to give up, just as you said. How can we as parents encourage our children? And I think through this book, which is so good, the Test of Lionhood, guys, the Test of Lionhood. And I mean, I'm going to give you where you need to go to get it at bravebooks.com. And we'll tell you all about that as we wrap up the interview. But I really want you to explain how parents can encourage their children, because you've done such a phenomenal job raising your children with Sam, to keep going when things get tough. And especially in a world today where so many kids are told that they're victims, that they don't have to continue to persevere, that someone else is to blame for all their troubles.
Well, I say don't be afraid. Don't let fear rule your life. Don't let anyone set your limitations, especially yourself, because a lot of people do that. They just sort of give up on life and say, show me the way. Well, to show you the way, I think you need a strong person in your life to help show you that way, because that's how you learn. And you look at what's going on in the African-American family, 80% of them, 80% are raised without a father. And look at the crime that is a repetition thing. And if that's racism, then give me a break. That is not racism. That's just looking at the cold hard truth that's out there. And I thank God there's people like Denzel Washington out there and Chris Rock and people. They're saying the same thing, to get out there and do something with your life. The roadblocks you get, okay, you don't have a father in your life. Okay, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Denzel Washington said what saved him are the Boys and Girls Clubs. That's what saved his life. And he's such an amazing speaker, an amazing man, an amazing role model for the African American community out there. And people need to sit there and look at that and go, okay, you know what? I can do this. I'm not going to let you tell me I can't do it. For me, when I moved to Hollywood, I had all kinds of doors. You're too tall, too short, too old, too young, whatever it may be. I used every failure as a positive, and it just fueled the fire for me. And my dad, he taught all of us hard work. I'm the fourth of 5 kids. He taught every single one of us to work hard in life and don't expect handouts.
That sounds awesome. It sounds like you had a great dad. And that is a lesson. And I agree with you. I think it's very tragic when I travel around the country and I go to places like Oakland, and I was talking to folks there in Oakland, and on the southeast side, it was crime and homicides is on the rise.
Oh, yeah.
Homicides was actually up over 80%. And I had a young man say to me, thank you for coming here. Thank you for caring about us. Thank you for exposing what's going on here. We don't want this anymore. Nobody wants this. The NAACP in Oakland stood up and said, enough is enough. We want you to declare a state of emergency in our communities. Why do you keep letting people go? Part of that is accepting responsibility for what you do, right? So, I think that's probably a big lesson in your book. Where can my listeners go to get this book? And any advice for parents that are struggling right now with their children or with their public schools? Is there anything that they can do to, to not only help their children, but to help themselves as a family move forward in a day and age where I guess families are being targeted not only by, unfortunately, not only by Hollywood, but by our lawmakers and even our FBI as well, with our domestic extremists.
You know what? Don't be afraid. Don't let fear rule your life. Show up at the schools. Make your complaints. I love the fact that more and more parents now are showing up to school boards. Here in Florida, we got rid of 12 of the worst school boards throughout the state and replaced them with Christian conservatives that care about what's going on. Our public education is broken. It's horrible. Ronald Reagan even said it back in the days. He's one of my favorite quotes from him. He said, "The greatest words to fear are, hi, I'm from the government. I'm here to help." They're not there to help. They're here to control your life. They're here to make your life worse. Everything the government does makes it worse. All you got to do is go to your post office or go to the DMV and see how the whole union thing works and how slow everything operates. I love that movie Zootopia where they show the sloths were the DMV workers, in the movie, because it was perfect. Because even Hollywood knows how bad it is. But people need to get out there and not be afraid. And the best place to go to get this book, it's called bravebooks.com. Go to bravebooks.com. You can get my book for free. It comes out September 1st, so it's out there right now. And you subscribe to the Freedom Island Book Club, and you get a new book every single month. It's not just about little boys, it's about little girls as well. So please, these are wonderful family books. And my book deals with masculinity, and I think it's important. I love that there's people out there, other actors like Taylor Kitsch, Mark Wahlberg. They're tired of the wokeness, and they're getting out there and they're having a big, strong voice. And we need more people in Hollywood. I'm here to make Hollywood manly again. Is not be afraid to get out there and let them go after. I get attacked all the time. You kidding me? This book is going to make more people come after me now more than ever. But I don't care. Let them come after me. These are very angry, unhappy people because their lives didn't turn out the way they wanted them to. So they're more than happy to work for George Soros and collect unemployment with your tax dollars. And that's what's going on in the world right now. We got to fight back, guys.
We got to fight back. And you know what? Little girls need big lions. They need masculine men. We want that. We love that. We love masculine men, and we want them back. We want them back. Put away your purses, guys. Put away the lipstick. Throw away the eyeliner, just start lifting weights and giving us your seats on the bus and being nice and opening doors. I'll be totally fine with it. I will not slam a door in your face. That would be like one out of a million.
But look at movies like Barbie, okay? It's made $1 billion, but I didn't see it because I know enough about what's going on. I've heard from people, they say, oh man, it's totally emasculating men in the movie. They're telling women you don't need a man. You don't need that. You don't need a family. You just need to have your own life and do whatever you want. And we live in that me culture right now. And they talk about the 80s being the me generation, the me decade. It's worse today. And everybody's too lazy to work. They want things handed to them. Everything's got to be instantaneous on this crazy thing called the internet, which is the wild, wild west to me, because there's good things about it, but there's a lot of evil about it as well.
I totally agree. And I want to add one more thing, just one more thing, I promise, and I'll let you go. I know I'm not letting you go. Sam's probably sitting there going, okay, Sara, gosh, it's like time is ticking. But I want to leave everybody with this thought. For all of you out there, there are very few people that stand up in Hollywood, and say what they feel and are willing to put everything on the line. Kevin, even though Mark Wahlberg and everybody else is joining, and I'm so grateful for them, and I think they're all awesome, and I love those guys, you were really the one that led the way. You spoke out before anybody else. You are one of the very few people in Hollywood, you and your wife, Sam, who said, enough is enough. We're living by principle. And you did it. And you stood up, and you have been successful at it. And not only that, I think you give hope to so many Americans, and you give strength, that strength that comes from you and Sam. It is toxic and it spreads. And when people hear you, I hope they stand up too. If you're working for somebody that's woke and doesn't give a about you, excuse my language, then you need to speak up and you need to find your own way, because you will. Eventually you will. So thank you. Wasn't that fabulous having Kevin on? I can't wait to get Kevin and Sam Sorbo back on. Hopefully they'll be with us in October, right before Kevin's new movie comes out. I'll say this loudly and proudly for the leftists all the way in the back. I love boys. Boys matter, and strong boys become strong men. We need strong men and women to take our country back. And the best way to make the strong is to raise them the right way. Speak up, Don't be afraid. Speak out loud. Stand up. Do not be the silent majority. Be strong. Be a man, be a woman, but be strong. If you love today's show and you want even more of the Sara Carter Show, and you're not identifying as a rhino or a leopard or a zebra or whatever else is going on in this crazy world today, make sure you rate this podcast 5 stars and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. I don't care if that's Spotify, Apple, whatever you listen to. I want you to follow me on Truth at Sara Carter Official, and on X at Sara Carter DC, and on Instagram at SCarterDC. God bless you. God bless our beautiful young men and women all across this country, and that they may find for once some peace within themselves, and that they can hush out all these insane adults that have been brainwashed by these radicals, and that we may find peace in our nation and with our families once more. God bless our nation. God bless all of you, and God bless the great state of Texas.